Rock! Fire! Welcome back, Twisters. Today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why the Columbus Blue Jackets could win the 2020 Stanley Cup. The Blue Jackets were looking pretty good, and then they got some terrible injuries dealt to them, and they sputtered definitely down the stretch, but now they're back in the playoffs again under John Tortorella. So, hey, they got just as good of a shot as a lot of other teams out there. Before we get started, make sure, if you haven't already, hit the red subscribe button down below for more playoff-related videos like this one. And without further ado, let's kick it over to the stats here. So Columbus on the season, 28th in goals for, not so good there. 3rd in goals against, 27th in power play, 12th in penalty kill, 8th in terms of most shots for, 7th in fewest shots against, and 26th in face-off percentage. That would be terrible. 26% in the face-off circle. So yeah, some real up and down statistics for them. Let's kick it over to reason number 1 here. So I know that Kim, aka Isles Girl, had talked about this when we were making our video on the New York Islanders, but really, the Blue Jackets definitely needed a reset because, as I mentioned earlier, they only won 3 out of their final 15 games. And of course, injuries were certainly a factor in that situation, but you look at a team like Pittsburgh that's been able to overcome a ton of just horrific injuries and surge ahead of that. So this team definitely needed to have a step away from hockey for a little while there and regain their strengths. You look at that 15-game stretch when they won only 3 games, 6 of those were overtime or shootouts, so not as bad as it looks initially, but still, when you're getting outscored 54-34 in those 15 games, yeah, you do not look like a playoff team there whatsoever. This team is going to look a lot more like that one that upset the Tampa Bay Lightning and swept them in the first round last year. So I think that the Blue Jackets that we saw before that terrible stretch is more like the Blue Jackets we gon' get in this first round here. So reason number 2, and that's kind of daisy chained on here. So we've got Cam Atkinson and Seth Jones coming back. These guys are excellent offensive forces for this team. As I said earlier, the Jackets only scored 34 goals in that 15-game stretch when both of those players were out. Cam Atkinson scored over 40 goals last year, and if you give him an 82-game average over the past 3 seasons, he's put up 36 goals a season, essentially. So this guy brings a lot of firepower, and other players feed off of that. Seth Jones, on the other hand, he's a guy who can be counted on to be a 45, 50-point scorer in a full season as well. And so, yeah, he's going to definitely bring some offensive upside as well. Zach Werenski, nonetheless, provided a ton of offense for them, scoring 20 goals. But nonetheless, you do want to be able to see that goals for get boosted. So Jones, Atkinson, the team definitely needs you, especially on that power play. Only 27th in the NHL there, so these guys can add some production with a man advantage. Reason number 3, this team will make things comfortable for Elvis Merzlikins. So Merzlikins hasn't played in the playoffs before. He might be a little rusty going in, as will a lot of other goalies. So it's good to have a team that is fundamentally sound in these statistics that I'll talk about here. So first of all, 2nd least penalized team. So that's always good if you're not going to be down a man for a lot of the game. So fantastic to see there. And almost 15 blocked shots a game. That was good for 3rd in the NHL. So, you know, making the extra effort out there in their own zone to make sure that Merzlikins doesn't have to face too many shots. As I mentioned earlier, 7th in fewest shots against, so that bodes well, and 7th fewest turnovers committed. So overall, a pretty disciplined team that is willing to, you know, lay down out there on the ice to make sure that not too many pucks get toward the net. So good numbers that could bode well for a young or less experienced goaltender in Elvis. Reason number 4. Comeback kids. Comeback kids. So they were tied for the 4th best winning percentage when they trailed going into the 3rd period. I think they won 7 games in which they were trailing going into the 3rd. So that's good to see. And they have a plus goal differential in the 3rd. So if they're able to actually go in there ahead, or they're tied going into the 3rd and they get that go-ahead goal, I think this team can definitely lock it down and close things out. And the good thing is that if you're down heading into the 3rd, this team has fairly balanced scoring. They're not going to rely on just one line to get it done. So you can, it's not like you're trying to skate your best line out there, and if they don't score, you have to wait another 2 minutes to trot them out there to get a chance. No, you got guys like Pierre-Luc Dubois, you got Goose Nyquist, you've got Jones, Werenski, of course, on the back end. Bjorkstrand had a 20-goal season as well. So this team has a little firepower here and there. It's not concentrated with one line. And if you're looking to come back into the third period, I like to have a more sort of balanced attack there. And reason number 5, in Torts, we trust. Now, in a lot of my videos recently, I've been talking about some of the great coaches, especially in the Eastern Conference here. Guys like Claude Julien, a lot of experience there. Barry Trotz won a Stanley Cup a couple years ago. I was also talking about Joel Quenneville, of course, 3 Stanley Cups there. But I want to give some kudos to Torts because this guy has continuously proved that this team is better than we expect. This is, I think, the 4th year they've gone into the playoffs. You look at kind of the opposition they were up against in the last postseason and heading into this season here. So, they, of course, were going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And what did everybody say? Oh, that series isn't going to even last 5 games. It's going to be Lightning in 3. And what happens? Tampa sweeps them, just dominates defensively, shuts down Kucherov, Stamkos. And so we were like, whoa, Torts, where did this come from, man? Then you look at the offseason. They lose Duchesne, Panarin, Bobrovsky, Dzingel, probably somebody else I forgot to mention. And this team's, and the media says, well, they're not going to sniff the playoffs. I mean, the Metro, the Rangers did so much in the offseason. The Devils did. You got Washington, you got Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Carolina. And so everyone's like, yeah, Columbus, no freaking chance. And this team has a 30-16-9 record at one point. And of course, those injuries were a big factor to their downfall later in the season. But Torts has always found a way to get this team to rally around his philosophy. They believe in that system. It's been consistent the last few years, no matter who is on the ice for them. So Torts, you can't discredit a team that's coached by him, even if they are a little banged up, even if they're not getting scoring out of certain players. He finds a way to make this happen. But I want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think the Blue Jackets have a shot to make a deep run here? I will say this. I am predicting them to beat the Maple Leafs in the play-in round. But of course, they've got a lot of challenges ahead of them after that should they carry that out. So anyway, let me know down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video and will consider subscribing if you haven't already. Big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. We've got more playoff videos coming up, playoff live streams, and a whole lot more here on Twisted Wrister Hockey. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll catch you later. Ciao.